Shout out to G-Man Boxing. Where's the piss bottle? It's over there.
Alright, people, midweek report time. It's mainly going to be dominated by the Fury Joshua situation. Obviously, Dillian Whyte has thrown his name in there. And interestingly, I'll start with this. So, Dillian Whyte is planning a comeback. Right? I think we all know that. Now, personally, for me, I don't know how good that's going to go, personally. The punt resistance does seem a bit shot. He doesn't seem gone in a sense of he's just got no ability anymore and he's just shot worn. I think it's just his punt resistance. Now, interestingly, he's been trained by Xavier Miller, or was trained by Xavier Miller. I think that was the guy's name anyway. Well, he's not being trained by him anymore. He's relocated to the States. So he was in Portugal, so they're relocating to the States to train with Buddy McGirt. Now, that's interesting because Buddy McGirt, he's very much a trainer who gets his fighters jabbing, gets his fighters boxing, and is able to eke out a little bit more life in him. A good example would be he was able to pretty much save Arturo Gatti's career because he was able to prolong it that little bit further, having him box a lot more. Obviously, there was fights like the Ward fights where Gatti went back to type, but for the most part, he was able to get Gatti up on his toes and box him. He was able to prolong his career. Sergei Kovalev trained with Buddy McGirt, still does. After he was stopped by Almeida Alvarez in the first fight, and we saw what happened in the rematch, he was a lot better, was able to get the win over Alvarez. So McGirt has been able to get fighters who maybe are on the wrong end of it, if you know what I mean, in terms of where they are as fighters. He's able to eke out that little bit more life out of them. So this could be why Dillian Whyte's doing it. Maybe he doesn't want to be Dillian Whyte who's coming in, the body snatcher. He wants to be Dillian Whyte, the boxer now. Could potentially be that. I don't know. It's an interesting one, but he's obviously throwing his name out there for Anthony Joshua in December. So Anthony Joshua, I would imagine more than likely he is going to be out probably by the end of this year, regardless if it's Fury or not, because I'm sure Eddie Hearn just wanted to get him out. Just get him back out, give him a run out and just see what happens, see what's left there. So he's throwing his name out there. Now, I don't know what's going on with the Dubois situation because it seemed likely at one stage that this was a done deal for the end of October. Obviously, Fury versus Hunter got announced, so that kind of messed that up. But obviously, Hughie Fury not taking, tips out of Tommy's book. He pulled out. Tommy Fury didn't. He's got a kid in the way soon. But that fight is seemingly done now. I'd say that probably won't get rescheduled, but seemingly done now. So, who knows what they're going to do with that. Obviously, they're not going to announce Dubois versus Whyte for the end of October. It's too late now. Not enough real time to get everything in. But it's going to be interesting to see what Dillian Whyte does on a comeback. It's going to be interesting to see what Buddy McGirt does with him. Will he change up his style dramatically? Dillian Whyte has a good jab when he uses it. And I'd imagine that he's going to be using that a lot more in the comeback. And you never know. I'm not saying he'll win a world title, but he might end up getting... I think Dillian Whyte is near the end, but he might end up having a few more years left in him just based upon a change of style. Who knows? The main talking point this week has been the Fury Joshua debacle. It is just crazy. It's crazy. I have said it once, I'll say it again. Can't defend Tyson Fury at this stage. It just seems to me as though he's done everything to prevent this fight happening. Make it, maybe not to prevent it happening, maybe that's the wrong word, but to make it as difficult as it is for Joshua to sign it so he can turn around and say, deadline, gone, say, not going to happen. And I think that this will come back to bite him. I think not in terms of the ring or anything like that, not like Joshua's going to get the fight and beat him, I'm not thinking that, but you can see backlash from boxing fans for Fury now. And no one's buying Anthony Joshua ducking Tyson Fury. No one's buying that. So he's getting a lot of the backlash. Tyson Fury is, from what I've seen anyway. So this little stunt trying to make Joshua seem like he's ducking Tyson Fury and he's scared, this may actually have the opposite effect, and people will say, actually, Tyson, you're talking BS here. Joshua's not ducking you. Doesn't look like that at all. Looks like you're making it difficult for him. So, look, Manuel Charr they're talking about next, and it seems like there's some real actual talks about Manuel Charr. I personally hope that's not the case. I don't want to see Tyson Fury versus Manuel Charr, to be honest with you. It's not a fight that appeals to me. It's not a fight I want to see. I'd rather just that fight be just to history, don't happen, and Tyson Fury just go straight in next year. Alexander Usyk, March or April. There you go, undisputed, see what happens. We've even seen hints at Wilder. Posters of Wilder Fury 4 going around. I mean, that has no life in it, I don't think, that fight at this stage, Fury Wilder 4. Even if Wilder goes out there and he knocks Hellenius out in a round and says he's better than ever, I think that fight has about as much. That's a real Triple G Canelo 3 type of thing, where it's just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. The closer we get to it, it's just like, I don't care. You know, because that was kind of how I was kind of looking forward to Canelo Triple G at one stage 3, and then just the closer we got to it, it's just like, I don't care. I don't care. That's why I didn't do any previews around it before. It's just like, I just don't care. So look, this Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua situation, it's, as I said yesterday, and I used the analogy of the battered housewife keeps going back to the spouse. It is kind of like that with boxing. Unfortunately, you know, you want to get these big fights made, they seem close to being made, and something happens, but you still go back and give it another go. You repeat the process, thinking it would change. It's never changed, and I don't know if it ever will. I really don't. It's just a shame, you know, it really is. Again, my priority's always been undisputed, but big fights, you see, big fights like that, and it is still a big fight, it puts eyes on the sport. It gets people watching. You know, that's why I've grown to not really be bothered about the YouTube boxing anymore. You know, when you see KSI and Misfits promotion, it doesn't bother me. Am I going to sit down and watch it? Depending on who's on it, probably not. But the fact of the matter is, it's doing great numbers. It's pulling in great figures. People are actually watching it, and people are maybe as a result getting involved in the sport themselves. And isn't that what it's all about at the end of the day? Getting eyes on the sport, getting more people involved, because at the end of the day, the more people who get involved, they're the next generation of fighters. And there is going to come someone in the next 15 years will win a world title and be interviewed. And what was your inspiration? Someone's going to say Jake Paul. Someone's going to say Mayweather McGregor. As much as I didn't like the build up to that fight, someone's going to say that. Someone's going to say watching YouTube boxing. Someone's going to say that. And it could be a good fighter, very good fighter. And we'd have to look back and say, was it really a bad thing? We've had some great fights. We've had some great fighters. And this is probably in the future, obviously, maybe 10, 15 years in the future. But is that not the way to look at it? Instead of looking at it in a case of, oh, this is so silly, the YouTubers are fighting. Is that not really the way we should kind of look at it? Like, look, if it's inspiring people, if it's getting eyes on the sport, the more eyes on the sport, the better. At the end of the day, we're not getting the big fights, unfortunately. I don't want to sound negative, but it just doesn't seem that way. You know, I'd love to see Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. I'm still waiting on a formal announcement for Spence Crawford. We're here in November, but until I see an announcement, I want that fight so bad. I really want that fight. But where's the announcement? So, you know, that's a bit of a mini rant on the whole Fury situation. That situation was just left a bad taste in people's mouths. I know there was a lot of people who said it was never going to happen. But the fact of the matter is, regardless whether you were one of those people who just believed it was never going to happen, and that's fair enough, at the end of the day, it's not a good look on the sport to have, you know, someone of that stature just kind of drag this out. You know, you're hearing Joshua's okay, you're hearing Hearn, Warren, all that, and then it just, not happening. Not happening. You know, and then potentially facing Manuel Charr instead. I mean, not even a decent. There are below par opponents, like someone like an Ajed Kabayel, who you'd favour Fury every day. You wouldn't say it's better than Joshua, it's not. You wouldn't give him a pass, but you'd say, like, alright, he's alright. But Manuel Charr is just a pudding at this stage. I really hope we don't see that. I really hope we don't. I hope we just get straight into Undisputed. Let's get it made next year. And truth be told, I probably would, even now, still pick Tyson Fury over Alexander Usyk. Definitely, I'd probably pick him over Usyk. So, it's not like, you know what I'm saying, like Tyson Fury go in there with Usyk and get beaten. He'd probably beat Usyk. I'd pick him, definitely. But, That's what I want. I wanted to see a big fight. We're not going to get it by the looks of things. And let's just go straight into the undisputed, the cream of the crop. Let's get straight into that. That's what we want. That's what we want. It's a bit of a rant over. Let's get into boxing news. I seen footage of Kell Brook sparring a few weeks ago when I talked about this, and Dominic Ingalls said on the Boxing Kings, Kell Brook is considering coming out of retirement. He said Brook has been approached by multiple promoters with potential fights with Liam Smith, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn winner. Liam Smith makes sense, actually. Even now, I'd still give Kell Brook a very good chance over Liam Smith. I'd probably pick him, truth be told. They sparred in the run-up to, I think it was the Triple G fight. So Kell Brook looking likely to, well, potentially making a comeback. I think Kell Brook is leaving on a high note. I really do. I think Kell Brook is leaving on a high note. And I think that's the way it should go. I really do. Now, obviously, in the wake of his win this weekend, Joyce is being talked about a good bit. People are really starting to talk a little bit more about Joyce, a little bit more, just to say on him. So Joyce on Dillian Whyte, saying he believes he could KO him. Yeah, Dillian Whyte said on Sky Sports, Joyce is a good fighter. He's a strong guy. He can take a lot of punches. Some of those guys with great chin. One night just comes, boom, it's gone. I believe I carry knockout power to knock anyone out on the planet. I've just got to land that punch. Yeah, and Joyce responded by saying, let's go, let's have it. I'll fight him. It'll be a car crash. Dillian Whyte is calling everyone out now. So he talked about Anthony Joshua at the start of this video, and he's with Buddy McGirt now. So he's saying he can KO Joyce. Joyce has a great chin. Dillian Whyte's right hand has power there, but he's not known for the right hand. He's known more for the left hook. Now, Joyce has been tagged with right hands before, but could Dillian Whyte catch and shoot that left hook? Joyce has a good chin, but even I wouldn't expect him to take Dillian Whyte's left hook and not be sore, or certainly not at least feel it. I would make Joyce massive, overwhelming favourite. I would make him a overwhelming favourite over Dillian Whyte, but you never know. And obviously Joyce said which heavyweight would be the biggest test for his chin. And I agree with Joyce on this. He says this, Wilder, no hesitation. Wilder obviously got phenomenal power. It'd be a risky fight. 100%. For me, Deontay Wilder has the best chance. Well, Deontay Wilder, if he caught Joyce clean, I don't care who you are. You're getting caught with Wilder's right hand. You get knocked out. At the very least, you're getting dropped. You can have an iron chin. You're not taking that right hand flush. No way in hell are you taking that right hand flush. No way. It's just not going to happen. Deontay Wilder's right hand is the truth. And you ain't taking that. You ain't taking that and carrying on. No way. Now, here's an interesting one. So, Boxer recently announced just today a card that's going to take place on November the 12th in Manchester. Natasha Jonas will headline against Marie-Eva Darchi. That's how you probably pronounce that. Unification. IBF title is Darchi's, and Natasha Jonas has the other two, WBC, WBO. Dalton Smith versus Cassie Benjamin. Dalton Smith, matchroom fighter. I wonder, is Cassie Benjamin a boxer fighter? Fraser Clark versus Kamil Sakalowski. That's a good step-up fight for Fraser Clark. Sakalowski is tough. He's durable. He comes to win. And that's going to be a much, much harder fight then. Look, he was obviously annoyed. And I don't blame him, truth be told. Because the last opponent he was in was just a joke. That was a joke. That was a farce. So Sakalowski is really going to bring it good. He is going to bring it good. Now, as we're on boxing scene here, Zach Parker seeks new foe after Demetrius Andre bows out of the interim title fight. I said that would happen. I knew that would happen. I knew instantly, as soon as I saw the purse bid, I was like, he's not taking that fight. It was like 300 and something grand was the only purse bid that Frank Warren won. It's like, that he was never going to take that fight. Not because he's afraid of Zach Parker, Demetrius Andre, but this is a guy, 305 grand. This is a guy who's been paid probably, $1 million for his last couple of fights, or a little over $1 million, 1.2, 1.3. He's not going to take 100 and something grand to fight Zach Parker for an interim title. It's just never going to happen. I believe John Ryder is next in line in the rankings, but I don't even know if John Ryder would take that little. Sonny Edwards looks likely he's going to take on Felix Alvarado next, November the 11th in London, which will be a Friday. That's how you do it. You don't clash two shows together, which is good because obviously the 12th is the Natasha Jonas card and this is the 11th. So even Stevens. It's the right way to do it. It's the right way to do it. Joseph Parker rates Joe Joyce ahead of both Joshua and Ruiz. That's very interesting. He's shared the ring with both of them. And he's saying that no, he rates him ahead of both them. That's interesting. I mean, certainly the Ruiz fight was close. The Joshua fight wasn't that close, and it wasn't a great fight. But Parker did try his best in there against Joyce. Joyce was just on a different level. Different level of power, strength, everything. No respect for what Parker had. And yeah, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So I also seen, and it's an interesting one, Ian John Lewis. Now he has officially stepped down. I'm going to get it here. Ian John Lewis. He's officially stepped down as a British Boxing Board of Control judge. So it says he's left there to join BIBA. Now I don't know, is that a kind of licensed but unlicensed professional, if you know what I mean? The way you can have some pro fights under a different sanctioning body, not sanctioning body, but governing body, but they're not recognised by like BoxRec and stuff like that. He was downgraded from an A-star referee to just an A referee after a very controversial scorecard in the Josh Taylor-Jack Catterall fight. I mean, Ian John Lewis, I never minded him that much as a referee. I am the referee. Never minded him that much as a referee. But as a judge, he's put in some bad scorecards. I saw O'Hara Davis tweeting that he never minded Ian John Lewis' scorecard. Of course he didn't, because O'Hara Davis fought Miguel Vasquez in 2019, and Ian John Lewis was the sole scorer. He was the referee in that fight, and he gave the fight to O'Hara Davis. So of course O'Hara Davis doesn't mind. He'd have he'd have 3 L's instead of 2 if a competent... Well, look, I don't agree. Look, I don't mind Ian John Lewis as a referee, but as a judge, terrible. And if you have to ask him to referee and judge, it's just not going to work. I really wish the board would do away with that. I don't like it. Even go to like Spain or somewhere like that, they have judges even for 4-rounders. In the UK, if it's a non-title fight, anything under 10 rounds or under, if it's a non-title fight, the referee scores. I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that. I think the referee has enough on his plate without having to score a fight. So, there's very few countries still do it, but the UK is one of them. So I think, people, it's not been that much on this week. So I think I'm going to call it there. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Might try and smash out a live before the end of the week. It's my birthday on Friday, so hopefully we'll get a live in before then. And for now, lads and lassies, I'll leave you with that. I, again, hope you're all having a good week, keeping well. Everything's all good. And yeah, I'll leave you with that, people. Till then, I'll talk to you.